Hi, my name is Graydon Agar, Executive Director of Today's Hope. This informational video will provide some important information about early intervention, and several of our families have been generous enough to share their stories about children with autism spectrum disorder.
My family consists of myself and my husband Boyd. We've been married for 18 years and we have two boys, Camden and Cole. Cam is 9.5 and Cole's going to be 7 soon. Both of our children are affected with autism. Tanner is wonderful. He is full of laughter, fun. He's into trains, and 2.5 years ago he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum.
Carter is our son. He's 5 years old, and he's an amazing little boy. He was diagnosed with autism when he was about 2 years old.
Autism is a complex neurological and developmental disorder that's characterized by marked impairment in social skills, in language acquisition, and then of course the area of inappropriate behavior or stereotypic behavior, which is what most children with autism are known for. Overly fixated on routines, hand flapping, aggression, destruction, self-injurious behavior.
You know, as a parent, being diagnosed with autism sometimes at that point in time feels like being diagnosed with the death sentence. You're losing what you thought was so perfect. I was terrified, thinking, you know, how is he going to make it in the world? How's he going to learn? How is he going to make friends?
The picture that was painted was, you know, one of a lifelong disability, possibly being in our care for the rest of his life. When somebody tells you your child has autism, it's, in one instant, you can see all of your hopes and dreams for your child get dashed.
When parents first come in, they're pretty overwhelmed. They don't understand where things are headed. That's a real major concern for parents about, is my child going to be happy when they're an adult? Are we doing the right thing for our kid?
At that point in time, I was basically like a coach on a team of a sport that I'd never even played before. I felt completely overwhelmed, without any guidance.
Your conventional doctors, you know, just tell you, oh, well, you got an autism diagnosis, there's not much you can do. And, you know, kind of leave it at that. And you really have to dig and learn more answers about all the different things you can do.
Early intervention for Carter was the critical component to his success. The absolute critical component. He would not be where he is today without early intervention. There you go, now blow. When Carter was first diagnosed, going into public places were extremely challenging. Going to the park across the street was nearly impossible because his behavior was so different. Everybody would stare and look at you like, you know, you're a bad parent. Now we take him to places and it's so exciting to see him be curious about his environment, interact appropriately, and engage socially.
Camden is a nonverbal 9.5-year-old child. He does not talk. So it was vital for me to get early intervention to make him have some basic life skills. And through intense behavior intervention and therapists in our home 5 days a week, and me driving from, we accomplished potty training, we accomplished a communication system through pictures so he could tell us what he wanted instead of screaming.
My wife was a social worker and she had helped a lot of people with disabilities.
All the kids that I'd worked with in the past did not have any type of early intervention at all. So I kept thinking in my mind, is this what he's going to be? You know, you know, he's had now 2.5 years of speech, ABA, OT, just a wide array of services that have definitely put him in a place where he's going to be starting regular kindergarten. So we're thrilled.
As a behavior analyst, when I look at working with, let's say, an 18-month-old or initiating services with an 18-month-old versus an 8-year-old, we look at it in terms of learning history or learning style. It's much easier for us to, let's say, break bad habits in an 18-month-old than it is to break bad habits in an 8-year-old.
Sometimes I think about it like a rocket ship trying to blast out of the orbit. You know, there's a lot of energy has to go in at the beginning, but if you can get launched and then get on track, sustaining that trajectory then becomes a lot easier.
We have great hope for children who come to us. Our biggest hope is always that they will go on to lead independent, productive lives, and really to be happy, contributing members of society.
One of the things that I've been impressed with in this field is how well so many of the kids do when they're placed in the appropriate intervention setting. When I first meet with parents, you know, at age 3, there's no reason that they shouldn't continue to keep as their goal going to college, getting married, having a job. And I think that the likelihood of that occurring significantly increases, you know, if we get those years in prior to kindergarten.
When you first hear the costs, it's shocking, and you think, I can't afford this, I can't do this. And then you start working on your insurance company and find out, well, in fact, nothing's covered.
The insurance that we have doesn't cover speech therapy. And I fought like tooth and nail to have them cover behavioral therapy through diagnosis like ADHD and behavior management and things other than the word autism. So financially, it's been a huge burden upon us.
For us, it meant making a lot of sacrifices that were very worthwhile to make, but they were hard. They were hard decisions, and it definitely compromised the lifestyle we were used to having. But we are one of the fortunate few in that we could make that choice. There are many people who don't have that luxury, and we feel very blessed that we were able to provide what he needed.
Our mission and vision at Today's Hope is to provide financial resources for early intervention for children with autism spectrum disorder. We are hopeful that these services will remove educational and social barriers and allow these children to lead a more fully engaged life.
I think what's so unique about Today's Hope is everything else that's out there today is focused on awareness or you know, more of a biological approach and what is the actual cause of it. There's nothing out there today that focuses on helping the families. And I think Today's Hope has the right approach and has the ability to make an impact in the right way, because you know, a small, you know, one-time donation is not going to help a family. It has to be a continued effort, you know, over a long course of time, and it's intensive, and there's nobody out there right now trying to do this.
You know, I look back at, you know, a lot of people that I know now that didn't have early intervention, and you just wonder, you know, what their lives would be like now if they had had that opportunity.
I would love to see Today's Hope catch those families early who have the children who have the capability of really, really getting better.
On behalf of myself and the Board of Directors of Today's Hope, thank you for your support. Please give generously.
You know, what I always hope for with Carter is that he's going to have the opportunity to enjoy everything that I enjoyed when I was growing up. You know, I'm not asking for the world or anything for him. I just want him to, you know, just to have, you know, the opportunity to play soccer, you know, and go to school and have friends and, you know, and play video games and the stuff that, you know, every little kid should have when they're growing up. And that's all I hope for.